Vice invited male identifying and non-binary folks from across the country to discuss their ideas of masculinity. We've finna learn tonight.
My name's Krishna. Thank you all for being here and talking through masculinity, what it means to be a man, etc. Obviously, we couldn't fit every man in the country into this room. We tried to get a diverse perspective, but of course, that caveat,
I think this is pretty diverse.
We're not everyone. I wanted to start by telling you why this is something that I'm interested in. I have an 8-year-old son, and I'm seeing him absorb what manliness might mean. I'm thinking to myself, what does it mean to be a man? To start, maybe we could just introduce each other to each other, and if you were to describe what it means
being
to
a
be
man
a man
means you breathe air.
Masculine.
Hot take, hot take.
My name is Tahoe. I'm a black
What's
man.
What's up with you? What's up? Well, wealthy crab in a building. How you living?
Being a man, you had to be tough. You had to be hard. And now, to me, being a man is a lot different. Now, to me,
you gotta
being
be
a
soft.
man is knowing when to be soft. Knowing
soft.
that you don't always have to run the charge. You can actually
wait. This guy's got a good point. All right.
listen. You know what I mean? So things have changed a lot over the course of the years for me.
Tell me how
I'm
the
Griffin,
volume levels are.
And I don't identify as a man. I'm non-binary. I still have elements of, my identity that are masculine, elements that are feminine, elements that don't fall within that range. And
what are you watching? We are watching how to be better versions of ourselves. Now, we're watching a Vice video. It's called Modernists and Traditionalists Debate Masculinity. So we are learning all about what does it mean to be a man in today's age. Because we all have different ideas of it, and I think that it's important to put out a good message out there, to have the most positive traits be amplified, and then all the negative traits, be dealt with and talked about and discussed, so that we can figure our way through that, and that we can raise healthy young boys to become healthy big men, big dudes, big dudes. So yeah, that's what we're watching, homie. How you living? How's your Thursday going? What's up with you?
I personally just don't feel tied to the norms or the confines of gender at all.
Well, welcome.
My name is Dylan, and I think that the notion of masculinity is just something that can be possessed by man or woman. Man, woman, non-gender conforming person. What it means to be masculine is just changing and very fluid. But I think that, masculinity is something that just, you embody based off of just how you show up in this world as a man, and just how you go about being your day-to-day.
How you show up. Interesting.
Yes.
What's up, guys? My name is Paul. I'm a fitness entrepreneur. I'm an immigrant. I came here
from
when
New
I was
York, baby.
4 years old with my family. It's kind of funny how we're talking about it. My take on masculinity is not about talking as much as doing.
Yes, it's about your
I think
actions.
At its core, a man has to be efficient, competent, and be willing to do what it takes for themselves and their loved ones.
I was not always a good man. I was
all
not
humans
always
gotta
what you
do
would
that.
call a healthy masculine man. And so as my life has changed, I've identified 5 points that I think make a truly masculine man.
The 5
masculine.
points of...
Okay.
I think point number
Let's
one
go.
is a man who walks with God. Point number two is a man who stands on principle. Point number three, which is a masculine man, is self-sacrificing. So someone who is willing to sacrifice for point 4, the people that he leads. A true man is a leader. And number 5, a masculine man is never a coward.
That's a lot there.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a lot. Yo, so has nobody ever thought if you not everyone could be a leader, right? You need most people to be followers or else it doesn't work. You can't have 10 million managers. You need people to be managed. And that's just the reality of life. If you have a billion managers, who's going to get managed? So I think it's good to encourage people to be leaders, but it's not good to be all of your value should come on whether you're a leader or not. And if you're not a leader, then you're less of a man or you're a failure. Because that's obviously not how things can work. Some people can provide high value from not a position of leading. You need high value, good followers, if you want to call them that, but just people that are not leaders in leader positions, but who still provide a ton of work and a ton of skill that is needed to just get things moving. That guy be following God cheeks all day. Ultra beta. Yeah, he looked like he from Texas. Did they say if he was from Texas or not? Yeah, I don't know. That guy's gonna be. Let's see him flesh out his views. I don't want to comment on anyone's opening statements because every single one of these men is gonna be A good man is somebody who believes in good things and who doesn't believe in bad things. A great man is somebody who does great things in life and has great principles. You know, like all of them, every single one of them thinks that they're like, they have the right principles or whatever it is. So every single one of them is going to be like, you know what it means to be a good man? It means to do good things. Real men wear cowboy hats even though they never stepped in dirt before. That's true. Even though they live in the city.
And let's get into that as we go on.
I think what it means to be a man is responsibility.
Yeah.
As a man, it can come with a lot of power. And with great power comes great responsibility.
That's
In short
Spider-Man.
words. That's it.
That's Uncle Ben, homie.
Yeah, that's what
Uncle Ben.
That's Uncle Ben.
James.
Well, my name is James Killen, former United States Marine turned Air Force officer.
Real men
got
definitely
a couple
don't wipe.
combat tours,
And that guy
but I'm
don't
also
wipe,
a
for
father
sure,
of
for sure.
3 girls who mellowed me out. The idea of masculinity is something that I find interesting because it is changing, and I can actually see those changes in myself. And I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this.
Dude, if they got this like deep voice, like former Marine who just comes on here and starts talking about the most progressive ideas of masculinity, A1 scouting by Vice. That's what you need. I'm telling you. I've been telling y'all. We need more people that look like Leo. More people that look like literal goddamn tanks. Huge dudes. We want huge dudes with good progressive ideas on masculinity. That's how you solve this. They can't call you a soy boy when you can knock them out. Leo is too strong to be called a soy boy. He's a soy man. Leo is a soy man for sure, for sure. There's no way anybody could be like, you liberal soy boy, God. Like, the dude is a boxer, music producer, tank with beautiful long hair. We need huge, high-pitched voices that look scary and smell like Jim Carrey and fart like dairy cow. Now, how about now? And how about splow? We need big dudes and little dudes, medium dudes and little dudes, small dudes and fat dudes and skinny dudes and brown dudes and black dudes and white dudes and Jewish dudes and all dudes and Arab dudes. Bruh, soy, give me extra protein and help me ship. All right. That, like I said, I hope they got like, I hope this dude right here personally went out and found like the toughest, badass Marines and was just like, hey, man, you know, do you believe in this? And they were like, God damn it, yeah, real men don't wipe. And real men respect their partners. God damn it. And like, you know what I'm saying? I hope they really scouted out some big dudes that think like in a good progressive way and like a good, healthy, positive way towards masculinity.
Panel.
Thanks for your service. Andre.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, men. I think my idea of a real man is, you know, someone that gets the job done, you know, and
I love this
provides
dude.
and all that.
Dude, that's what I was telling you. It's so hard. I really don't think there's any point in having an opening statement. Like, just get straight to the debating, right? So get straight to the questions. Because all of their opening statements are so generic. And I love this dude. He's just like, yeah, being a real man is, you know, doing good things and like taking action and, you know, all that. He even said, he's like, and all that. He's like, yeah, you know, what all those guys said. This guy's winging it. I love it because all the rest of them came in like, you know, that they were like in the mirror 8 Mile style, like talking about like, all right, this is what a real man is. Like at least pacing back and forth. This guy was like, yo, I'm gonna just show up in my cozy sweater and I'm gonna listen to what everybody else says and I'm gonna just chat GPT it all in my head. God damn it. He the only honest one. That cowboy done rehearsed his response while driving his 4x4 truck in the city. That's what I'm saying. This dude came in and he was so real. He's like, yeah, I think everybody said what I was gonna say, so they actually copied me. I love it.
I don't even know what that means anymore, but yeah, I don't know. It's changing every day.
How do you think it's changing?
I love it.
No, it just seems like everything is changing every day. It's like a new world order, you know. So I don't,
Homie might be. I hope homie's not like a strong
I have
conspiracy
a hard time
theorist.
keeping up with stuff, so I feel like tomorrow it's gonna be something else, and people are gonna comment and be like, "You're wrong."
Not NWA,
it's
bro.
This now.
It's hard to talk
NWU,
about some of
homie.
this stuff because you feel like you might say the wrong thing.
I'm not really masculine myself, so I can't. I feel like I'm like the wrong person to ask.
What's not masculine
Maybe,
about
maybe
it?
you're the right person to ask. Christian.
What it means to be a man is to be
Yo, quick note that should be listed here. This is Herschel Walker's son right here. This dude is actually who I think in a sort of way put the opportunity for Herschel Walker to be defeated. Like he got on TikTok. He's like a big TikTok celebrity, and he started talking about like all you conservatives that claim to care about parental rights and who claim to care about absent fathers. You guys are championing Herschel Walker right now, the most absent father of all, and this coming straight from the mouth of his son. And none of y'all are taking me serious, and you're all calling me traitors. And like, he was on TikTok just like hammering that home. And goodbye, Herschel. That's Hershey Sitter. Herschel Runner.
be a adult human male.
That's sort of a very formal definition, but I think that might
Wait.
maybe you're the right person to ask.
What do you go with?
Christian.
What it means to be a man is to be a adult human male.
That's sort of a very formal definition, but I think that might be a good place to kick off because there's
Let's
a lot
go.
of
Let's
talk,
go.
of writing,
Let's
of
go.
research these
I'm
days.
done with opening statements.
That says there's a crisis in masculinity. Is there a crisis in masculinity? And if so, like, what is that crisis?
The thing that I see is a
He's
lot of
very conservative, by the way.
deconstructing generational trauma. The be a man, boys don't cry, this, that, and the other thing. And I think that's actually one of the reasons why we see it as a crisis, because we're actually trying to redefine what it means to be a man, and none of us have any idea because we're just out here trying to be whoever we are.
I love it. This was the best casting ever done by Vice. Nobody in that panel can be like, well, you're just a liberal soy boy. Like, this dude has the deepest voice. He has served his country, and he still has a very healthy relationship with masculinity and deconstructing like toxic traits that young boys are taught at a young age. Like, you can't sit there and be like, well, look at you. Why don't you go touch grass? He's like, I own a lawn. I have a house. I have 3 daughters. I am a happy father. I have a good relationship with my wife. I value her opinion. And I mow the lawn on Sundays. What are you talking about? Touching grass. He got a lawn on his chest. Yeah. He's like, yo, you ain't gonna tell me to touch grass. Why don't you go touch your pubes? Oh, you don't have none.
That's right. I think that historically, being a man was rooted in patriarchy and misogyny. And now we realize how harmful that has been over the years. And so we don't really know how to define where we're supposed to be. And I think the reason that they're saying there's a crisis is because the box has gotten so small for just being, say, straight, just being a hetero, right? Because if you do anything, women judge you.
What do you mean anything?
What you mean?
If I dance a certain way, or if I wear my hair a certain way, if I dress a certain way, they go, real men don't do that. Real men don't do that. And so you get scared to move a certain way because you don't want to get judged or outed out of the accepted part of your community.
And I need to get a black person on here to speak more on this. Like, at least the way that it's perceived for me as an outsider looking into like hip hop, it's very much that mentality of what he was saying. Like, I mean, it's a little bit different with like people like Young Thug and like I guess like Lil Uzi and those newer artists. But for a long time, it was 100% like, well, you can't dress super flamboyant because then you gay. That must mean you gay. And like, there's some deep-rooted homophobia in hip hop, unfortunately, that needs to be discussed. And I hope, this is a long video, so I hope he speaks more on that experience, on what it's like not being able to like, fully express yourself in the way that you want to because you think that there's certain societal pressures on what it means to be like a black man and like a real man in your community. I hope this dude gets more time. Like, A1 casting by Vice. Back-to-back hitters, man. Back-to-back, just, I love it.
And I think that kind of has us in an uproar, and we don't know where to be. Like, where's the safe place to be for men now? You know what I mean? And it's kind of disturbing.
You know, I was what you would call a toxic masculine male growing up. And I had good men that sewed into me, you know, they gave me good advice, but I never found manhood or never understood my place as a man until one day I humbled myself and I gave my life to the Lord Jesus Christ. And I'm telling you right now, walking with God changed my life forever.
I want to hear how it changed. Like, everybody always talks about, like, oh, I gave my life to Christ and everything changed for the better, and now I go to church on Sundays and sin the other 6 days. Like, I want to hear what changed, man. Give me specifics.
Can you define toxic masculinity? Like,
I would say toxic masculinity is like what he was just saying, where you're using that leadership role or that aggressive nature in a harmful way to harm other people, to get your way. So the biblical structure for manhood is very humble. It's self-sacrifice. It's not self-motivated, but it is motivated by principle and standing on what's right. So there is a clear-cut vision for manhood in the Bible that I live by, and I think our culture used to live by, and I think our culture has lost its way.
I'm not gonna lie, he's kind of interesting in the sense that, like, he agrees with them, and he agrees with all the same things that, like, I agree on, which is, like, you know, there are certain traits that are taught at a young age and also pushed in, like, traditional media and other aspects of society that we definitely have to unlearn, and sometimes, like, it's harder to unlearn for some people. He agrees on all that, but then his solution is a faith one. It's not so much a secular one where he's talking about, like, oh, you could change your life in this sense, like, you know, by working out or by doing this and becoming, you know, doing charity work. Like, his is faith-based. It's religion-based. And, like, that's not for me, you know, but I would love to hear what y'all think about that. Like, if he has the same ideas of, like, oh, these are certain things that masculinity needs to address and needs to confront and fix, but then his ultimate solution is, like, a faith one, not, like, one that you would do. What do you think about that? Biblical principle is hella patriarchy, like Stone Age patriarchy. You could talk about God and your morals like that, but pulling it from scripture is hella whack. What would you like to see? Like, what do you think? What do you think would be a more appropriate way for him to come to the same conclusions that we do, right? That we need to fix these traits, but his being a faith-based one, not a religious-based one. What do you think he would need to do that so for you to not be like, man, that's hella whack? I like this. This is so far a good conversation. Nobody's, like, gone out of pocket yet. That's what I was saying. I want to hear specifics. I want to hear, like, oh, you know, like, I gave myself to the Lord, and now, like, I don't demand everything of my wife. I don't expect my wife to literally do everything in the house and, like, be my mother. You know, like, I want to hear specifics. If he pulls that lesson from it and actually does good in the world, then okay, fine, you do you, but it can be so easily be misused. For example, to subjugate women. I'd like to hear a little more specifics. Yes, I think we're all on the same page where it's like, we want to hear, like, what specifically did it teach you? Like, it you know, that's like, I thought that was just going to be his opening statement. I thought he was going to, like, start getting into more specifics, but he's still doing the opening statement, like, to be a good man means to have good principles. And to have good principles, you got to talk to God, and he'll tell you the principles. And those principles are good. That makes you good. Like, he needs to get more specific.
I think everybody sort of has a different definition of toxic masculinity. I don't find masculinity toxic in and of itself, but I do believe in bad men, and bad men exist.
No, that's not what that means. That's not what that means. It's not an individual thing. To me, at least, right? It's more systemic, where it's like across different mediums, where you could go watch old movies and that old, like, boys gonna be boys. Oh, just let them roughhouse. Boys gonna be boys. And, like, don't cry, little boy. You gotta learn to be tough. Like, you see that across different media in our society, right? It's not just like oh, well, you know, it's because he was born like this and there's just some bad guys. There are just bad guys and good guys, and the bad guys, they have guns and they have black leather jackets, and you could tell that they bad. And no, like, it's not like that. it's different aspects that get taught, like those toxic traits that get taught and kept getting repeated and are normalized. To be a good man, you need good principles, and to have good principles, you need to be a good man. Yep, yeah, basically all of them. Agree with you, baby boy. This woman got like 546 followers on SoundCloud for his Christian country album. Trash.
But does that mean every man is toxically masculine? No.
We were talking about a crisis on masculinity. I think that there's a lack of understanding
Strong
there.
man.
So it's like
Strong
masculinity,
man.
being masculine isn't toxic. It's just like there are portions of it that you can dive into that make it toxic.
Because I think a lot of what we think of masculinity is tied into patriarchy, right? Which is to say, like, for the longest period of human history, like, men dominated women and got the lion's share of stuff.
I think a lot of times some people make masculinity into a caricature, like it has to be this alpha bro tough guy.
Exactly.
And I find the low-key guy who, you know, is a really great father and a great husband and maybe not like drinking raw eggs every day to be a lot more masculine than the alpha bro who's going and like banging 20 women per weekend and not a responsible man. I find it more masculine to be a good guy.
I think that
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah, dude, this dude got it, you know? Round of applause. He got it without realizing he got it, I think. You know, because you can't argue with that. Yeah, like that's true. But the problem is that society typically never showed that as what being a man was. Like, when he was like, oh, well, you know, I don't have the idea of like a man being this guy, this like big gym bro who drinks like raw eggs and eats spinach like Popeye. Like, yeah. You didn't think of that, but that's typically what society showed, right? They would show like Arnold Schwarzenegger with a Uzi and like his shirt off, like, or like a Brad Pitt just beating the shit out of people. Like, you know, like typically that's what you would see. And that's why we had all the stereotypes of like the jocks and the nerds and like the people that would just like bully motherfuckers and be like, yeah, like, because my dad told me that like I gotta be tough all the time and he used to beat my ass and you know, like that's this dude can be pulled over. He can be swayed over. I think he just doesn't realize that he's agreeing. Like, yeah, homie.
a background of this is that we are saying that gender is this like real thing that has real ideas and implications. And Griffin, I'm wondering, as someone who identifies as non-binary, how does this conversation strike you?
Well, I think that it kind of becomes like irrelevant whether or not we attribute like having like a good ethical compass to being like masculine. Attributing that to like the gender constructs which we have made up, which are like somewhat pointless, like kind of just feed into needless roles that uphold the patriarchy without even knowing it. A lot of those things are just things that people should be doing because they're like morally right. Like if you're in a family, you should probably support your family. And I really don't think that it has to do with like your manhood.
Yeah,
these characteristics that we're talking about are baked into an old system of domestic life.
I think that's actually where we get toxic masculinity. Like none of us can really describe what it is, but we can see it when it happens.
Yeah.
So we learn it, right? This is something we learn from the world. It's something we learn from like TV and shit. And it's maybe something we learn from our dads too.
Yeah.
Tell me about your dad.
I'm a first generation kid. My dad is from Guyana. Grew up in very humble beginnings, poor family. First time I remember my dad telling me he loved me was when I was 17. And he was like saying like he was proud of me because I was about to graduate high school and things like that, you know. I'm appreciative of all the other things, you know, being present as a provider, but in terms of like, you know, the conversation piece and like, oh, I want to talk to my dad about, you know, sex or something, or I want to talk to my dad about, oh, this person broke.
How many times in popular media has it not been a comedic trope where the kid wants something, right? He wants to either go out with his friends or he wants money for something. And he goes to the dad and he asks him, and the dad's like, nah, leave me alone. I want to keep reading my newspaper. Go ask your mother. Leave me alone. And he's like, you know, reading the newspaper, drinking whiskey in like some corduroys and like, you know, like that's like a common trope where it's like, go ask your mother. Go ask your mother. Your mother can handle it. Go ask your mother. Like that's a very common comedic trope throughout media because, and that's the type of stuff that contributed to these toxic traits where it's like, a father should have a good relationship with his child. Like, it shouldn't feel like, oh, like, you know, I can't speak to my father. I need to every time speak to my mother. Like, you know, and then later on, that creates an atmosphere in a relationship where they will feel like they can't come to you for real things. Like, and that's not good, because then they turn to other people who might be bad influences, who they shouldn't turn to, but they turn to because you wasn't there. So, man, yeah, this is not really like a debate. Like, it feels like they all argue. That was never my dad. If he said, go speak to your mother, that would have been amazing. Oh, no, he wanted you to speak to him because he had the ultimate control. He had the ultimate control. When they say, go speak to your mother, it's because they don't even want to bother. Like, you know, they might as well not even be part of the relationship. They're not contributing anything to it. They're just like, oh, I don't want to be bothered right now. Go talk to your mom about it. And that's really bad.
Broke up with me and I'm feeling pretty sad about it. I didn't have those conversations.
So like emotional language as part of like how you talk to your dad.
Yeah.
And my definition of manhood came solely from my relationship with God. It didn't come from my father. It didn't come from the good influences around me.
Is God a man?
Yeah, and God is a man.
He is.
And God is a father.
God, wait, whoa, I never heard that. Is God a father? I never heard that theory before. Who did God...
And he's a good father. He's a perfect father. And so I think there is...
Who did he... Look at them looking. Who did Jesus knock up? Oh, wait, no. Is he talking about father of Jesus? Or is he talking about Jesus? I got really confused. But look at them looking. God be impregnating. Wait, he's talking about Jesus, right? I don't think he was a great father if he left Jesus on the cross dead, homie. That ain't a good father. If you could stop that, why would you? No. He's supposed to be the father of the world. All right. Father time. Yeah, that one. What kind of father lets his son just sit up on a cross for days? That's cruel.
There's a clear definition of manhood where I guess that's where I diverge from everyone else in the room. I believe manhood is clearly defined by God. It is the perfect example of what a man should be.
Christian, I see you nodding your head.
I grew up in a divorced home. When you do grow up in a broken home and you don't have a father in the home, you recognize how important sort of both males and females are in raising a child and being in the home.
There's a balance between, you know, masculine energy and feminine energy.
Absolutely.
And I feel like there's both within everybody. And so there's a balance that with masculine energy in itself that I think a lot of people have trouble trying to like reconcile within themselves. Like, yes, being a man, you work hard, you take care of your people, but you got to be able to have that emotional side too, which is where the feminine energy comes in.
Y'all just like triggered something in my head when y'all was speaking about having both in the home. To me, I didn't really have it that. And it made me...
Leo, I don't think anyone's going to go after each other for anything, man. Everybody's just going to keep talking. Flazzy, thank you for being here, homie. What's up with you? He died. Yo, that Chimbia got 46% energy. Energy. May God bless your trap, my brother. Yes, sir. Come through, come through.
It made me feel a way, but I think that I always wanted one.
Wait. What did he say?
Y'all just like triggered something in my head when y'all was speaking about having both in the home. To me, I didn't really have it that.
Okay.
And it made me...
I'm right there with you, homie.
It made me feel a way, but I think that I always wanted one. And so I wound up at a certain age going outside and trying to find what masculinity was outside. And so I went on the corner, and there were 20 of us on the corner, and none of us had dads. We were all messed up, and so we all taught each other the wrong way to love, to be loved. And I think in society, there's way more people like that.
And a lot of kids who don't have fathers in the home, excuse me,
you're good, man.
look for that father in the world or in a different way.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying earlier. When you are a father and you are not present for your children because you just literally just want to default everything to the mom, be like, go talk to your mom, go ask your mom. Your mom can figure it out. I don't know. Like, that's really bad. Like, I knew this guy, right? He literally straight up told me, he's like, yeah, I don't know what my kids are getting for Christmas this year, but I know that I'm giving my wife the credit card and like she'll figure it out. That was his mentality. I was like, bro, what you mean you don't know what your kids are getting? Like, he's like, I know I paid for it. I'm like, no. So that's even worse. That's even worse. When you're there but you can't be actually present. And I'm blessed to have y'all. Yo, blessed to have you here, Flazzy. When you're a father and you're purposely not present, that's awful. It creates so much psychological damage and this feeling of like, what did I do wrong? Why don't I have that relationship? I got to go find that relationship with somebody else. Maybe join a gang or just maybe like, get involved with the wrong people because like I just want this like feeling of belonging and feeling of like, a paternal figure there to teach me. Now, I didn't grow up with my dad. The thing that I had, though, was a great family support system. I had 2 great uncles who really filled in that gap and never made me feel like, oh, I'm missing like a father figure. I had 2 amazing uncles growing up throughout my life, and I also had an amazing, amazing grandma, an amazing mom, an amazing aunt. I had just great uncles. Like, growing up, truly had a great support system around me that definitely never made me feel like, oh, I'm missing like a paternal figure in my life.
Yeah. Well, first, I think that attributing like proper family values to like a heterosexual couple with children is like just not effective. Like I think that it's obviously like a heteronormative take to be like man and woman and then a child, and that's how you create like a good family. And whether it's like a single mother, single father, or like a queer couple, like I don't think that it's necessary to like attribute men and women to like certain roles in the household. I think that it's only due to nurture those gender norms that we follow.
Male and female matters. God gives you one of those identities, you take on that role. And now you're responsible for not or for fulfilling that role.
We are trying to determine what the role is, homie. Y'all gonna come to the Parlay Sunday service. What y'all doing? You gotta let us know.
There's a masculine crisis because men are not taking responsibilities for the God-given roles that they have in society. And so when you take away the need to say, God made you this or God made you this, now you don't have to take responsibility for not fulfilling what you were called to do.
This is no different. This is no different than like extreme interpretations of Islam where it's like the man is in control of everything and the woman has to ask for permission for everything. That is no different. Just because you have a Catholic label on yours and they have a different religion on theirs, you guys are still appealing to the same religious authority to control other people and to be like, well, this is our role in society. This is what we're meant to do. And this is what y'all are meant to do. Y'all are meant to obey. Y'all are meant, like, that is the same type of thinking that slave owners justified and that countless throughout history, countless dictators have used as a justification. Countless fucking monarchs that have fucking ruled over people in the worst ways. We don't want no theocracy. No! All right, let me read what y'all saying. Did you and I have both, controlling but also emotionally distant? I feel like that is part of toxic masculinity, but not sure if I even know the right definition. I barely know what day it is. You do have that right definition. Yeah, being controlling, right? Being like, I'm the head of the house. I'm the man of the house. I'm the head of the house. I'm the man of the house. I'm the head of the house. And being like that, but then also being like, I don't want to give you any love. Like, I'm cold. I don't want to give you love, but I want to control everything. I want to make sure everything is how I envision it and how I think it should be. I want to be the moral police. I want to make sure that things are how I want them to be, but I don't want to give you no love. I don't want to give you no reassurance. Reassurance. I don't know if that's the right word. Reassurance. It's worse than the Chinese Mandarin characters and language downgrading women. Is it? Really? Teach us, Falazi.
When you do that, you also take away other things that somebody else may do. If I have a woman or a partner that wants to take on certain roles and I say, hey, those are my roles that God gave me in society, now I'm suppressing that person. Like, at the end of the day, we're all human beings. You define who you are and how you behave under God. That's what God gave us, free will.
But also, like, I think that the religious beliefs should not be used to, like, dictate how other people identify or how other people live their lives.
Humans need predictability. And
Now
when
they
we
getting
put
heated,
each other in these boxes, it gives us the opportunity to make decisions quickly. And I think that's what we're fighting is as a civilization at the moment, is the desire to put 7.5 billion people in specific boxes so that we can have some sort of predictability or stability in our lives. I was an emotionally abusive young man in my 20s because I had an idea of what my wife should do. And it caused a lot of stress.
Why were you the way you were?
You know, I had a lot of anger. I had a lot of pent up rage. I had, you know, some combat stress that I had to deal with also that I wasn't dealing with because men don't show emotion.
There is a social construct
I like this guy a
benefits
lot.
men. And so the responsibility that I've learned as I've gotten older is learning how to not enforce my power, learning over women, over people.
You're saying that that role gives men more privilege, like an advantage and privilege. I'm saying that it is more self-sacrificing. I do not have free time. I do not have hobbies. I do not wake up during the day and do what I want to do, ever. I'm thinking about my wife, my kids, my business.
But that's your decision, and that's not like a mandatory thing of your masculinity.
Well, if you believe that God is true,
I don't.
and you believe that he is God, then you do have that responsibility.
I wanted to let them go for a little bit, but bro, that's awful. That is awful. That is one of the worst, worst traits that men have. This idea of like, I need to always be working. I don't want to spend no time with my family because that means that I'm not providing for my family. Man, what good is it providing for your family if you never see the family? What good is it? This idea of I need to be the provider. I need to be the man. I need to be the one who brings food to the table. What good is that if you're not at the table eating with your family? What good is bringing the food to the table if by the time you sit down to eat, the food is cold and your family asleep? What good is it? Seriously, this idea that men have, and this is definitely portrayed throughout so much media in our society, where it's like just the man grinding. The man hasn't seen his wife in like 6 days because he's at the office and he's sleeping all the time. This guy said he don't think about anything. He just think about his wife. Why don't you go see your wife, fam? You don't gotta think about your wife. You need to go see her, homie. It's not good to be like, yo, I'm gonna be at the office all the time. I'm not gonna spend any time with my kids, but it's okay because I'm making sure that my kids got money. I'm making sure my kids got shoes on their feet. I'm making sure my kids got food in their belly, but they don't see you. They don't see you, and that's really not good for them. It's just as bad to not have that connection with their father because their father is never around than them being a little more broke and you spending less hours at the office. He basically saying that these so-called advantages from being a man aren't really advantages because he was forced to be the provider. Yeah, dude, and nobody's forcing him. For real. Nobody's forcing him. In fact, I think it's healthy for men to spend time with their families and not just be thinking about providing. He is a victim of the patriarchy. Honestly, he's forcing it. Seriously, he's a sad victim of the patriarchy without realizing it because he developed this mentality, a toxic mentality, some would say, of like, I need to be working all the time to be providing for my family. But then you're not with your family, and you need that. Like, you need that. That's the whole point. That's why you should do anything, right? I do this so that it can provide me and my family more time to spend it better. That's it.
What privileges are you referring to? Like, what privileges do men have?
We've constructed this entire society to benefit us.
Break it down. Like, what privileges exactly?
Like, we talk about the wage gap, or if you look at Roe versus Wade, men controlling women's bodies.
Even if there might be those privileges, there's also more men who commit suicide, more men incarcerated. I think when you
Why is that, fam? Why is that? Why are they committing more suicide? Because we need to help them, right? Well, I'm not saying this is why, but what I'm saying is we need to help them, and how we gonna help them is by breaking down these traditional roles that we've told them that they need to take on, homie. We need to stop that. It's not good. It's definitely not good for men to just be like, I need to work all the time to provide and be a provider and never see my family. And then when you burn out, you don't even talk to them because you're not good at sharing your emotions. That's how you end up Robloxing yourself. That dude is like right there. He's right there. He's right there with the answers, but like he steers it off every time. Got several people in my family like that. Yeah, it's not like, good.
Incarceration rates and things like that, like things that men are a victim of. I think that it's important to like recognize, like, I don't think that men are oppressed solely on the grounds that they're men. I think that men like experience oppression based on like the intersections of their identities, which is, you know, why we see like different like lower class jobs being worked by men, or like higher suicide rates, or like incarceration rates going up, because like men, like black men, brown men, indigenous men, queer men, trans men, etc. Those people like face oppression, they experience oppression, but it's not solely due to their identity as a man.
But I think dating and sex is probably a very interesting place to think about this, because it's changing field as far as like what people expect of each other.
I date in New York City a lot, and dating-wise, there's a lot that's like asked of a man. Like first dates are like nightmares.
Why?
Yeah.
Dude, it's
Explain.
like, I'm like, what do you want? They got like a checkbox, like, are you gonna pick me up? Are you gonna walk on the outside of the sidewalk? Are you gonna open the door? Are you gonna pull out the seat? Are you gonna pay for the meal? Are you gonna be interesting during the dinner? Are you gonna be funny during the dinner?
Some of those seem like perfectly normal ass. Oh my God, I can't believe this woman asked me to be personal and not an asshole. Can you believe it? Can you believe this woman wanted me to do all these things, which included being nice and being funny and being normal and not scaring her, and she wanted me to breathe. I can't believe it. Some of those were like, what, dude? If you can't do those things, any date is going to go horrible for you, fam. You can't just be like, I can't believe this woman expected me to use words. This woman expected me to string along words and create sentences and respond to her after she made sounds with her mouth. Hey, come on, fam. That's the bare minimum. It's human interaction 101, seriously. Some of those things I understood, you know, like if he was like, yo, girls want you to pick them up, and I be dating girls in New York City and I don't got a car, so I can't pick them up. I would have been like, all right, dude, that makes sense. Like, why are these girls like so astounded that you can't pick them up? Like, they live in New York City. They know what the deal is. But, nah, this dude went out to complain about the most basic things. Brain, he just occupied that space.
And then when you walk home, are you gonna drop me off? Are you gonna watch me walk inside? And then are you gonna text me after? And it's like,
yo, this guy's really complaining about the most basic things. Yo, like, are you gonna actually communicate with me after the first time that we date, or is this a waste of time? Like, are you actually interested in me? Like, these are all basic questions.
it's like trying to defuse a bomb. Like if you think you're like red wire, blue wire, and you're like one little thing and you're just done. And it's like, I'm to the point where I'm like, I'm so tired of like paying $150 for a first date, and then you just ghost me. And the next week I'm like hurting for cash. I'm like, I could have really used that $150. Like, why did I have to?
Bro, big mistake. I did not spend no $150 on Sundere our first date. I didn't spend $150 on our first date. No way. That's way too much money. Dude, that's way too much. That's way too much, and that's that dude's fault. That's nobody's fault. Stop dating, stop bringing girls to these expensive spots. If any girl is like, oh, I don't want to go to no place that's less than you gonna spend less than 150. It have to be 150 maximum minimum, or you a broke boy. You be like, peace. You do the Homer Simpson into the bush meme, because who cares, right? Like, you don't want to be with that person. What? Yeah. You take them. You take them free places. You take them to go walk on the boardwalk. Yeah. No, the 150 is way too much. Why that boy spending 150? That's wild. It's a good and bad reason, or some case by case. You really never been in 1,001 lifestyles to give a true insight, but you should always make time with the family to reassurance them we are still here and we are here for you. Time. What'd you say? You never really been in 1,001 lifestyles to give a true insight, but you should always make time with the family to reassurance them we are still here and we are here for your time. Yeah. I didn't understand that first part, Flazzy. If you could clarify that, homie. But we could talk about it on the stream when you come on. He just laughed louder than he did at the last. Oh my God. Bah! Leo ain't never spent 150 on mine. Yeah, he did, didn't he? Bro, I spent $1.50 on Queen Ass. That's a red flag for sure. We never know is what I was trying to say. Yeah. No, dude, but I'm talking about the people who have a choice, man. Like, there are way too many dudes out there who decide to sacrifice time with their family to climb the corporate ladder, and that's whack. And a lot of people criticize women for that, but they've never criticized a man for doing it, and it don't make no sense. It's bad when both do it. Spend time with your family. If you have a family. If you decide you don't want a family and you just want to climb the corporate ladder like a beast, God bless your tribe then.
You know what I'm saying?
Like the trade-off of like going on a date and as the man being like, oh, this sucks, I have to pay, or as the woman being like, oh, this sucks, I might get murdered, is like a pretty big, imbalance.
On a first date,
what they gonna
should
say?
the man or whoever identifies as the man on the date pick up the check? Show of hands. Who thinks yes?
Oh,
Yeah,
what we got?
should
What we
is a
got?
weird-
Yeah,
Keep your hands up. Keep your
Okay,
hands up.
sorry. How would you put it?
I very much love gender roles. I like masculine men, and I want my masculine man to pick the check up.
It is so funny coming from this dude. Like, he's not a traditional masculine man. Christian Walker is not a traditional masculine man. And he's like, I love gender roles. Like, homie, you're not fulfilling the role. What are you saying, dog?
My friends seem to be the same. My girlfriends seem to want that as well. But I have a male friend who was naturally doing that. And with the dates he was going on with women, they were offended that he took the check. So I think hey, if this woman doesn't want him to pay and she wants to show she can pay, go off.
I think it's a matter of preference. If someone picked it up for you, you develop a kind of rapport, respect with that person, so be it. If the other person, the woman you're with doesn't want that, then maybe it's not the match for that person. So I think it's dependent on the situation.
But I think that there's such a thing as financial abuse, and men seem a lot of time, because they spend, that a woman has to be under them or owes them something.
I think that's when you get toxic.
Me personally,
Yes.
I love to take care of my partner. I love that feeling that I give them, that they're taken care of when they're with me. And that's when it's with friends, anybody. If you're with me, I got you.
I guess what I'm hearing from you, Andre, is that there's a lot of pressure to inhabit the masculine side of the social expectation, and yet you might not get the benefit that you would have expected generations ago. And that puts you in a weird position.
What's the benefit?
Yeah, well, we live in a city where there's 8 million people, and
Yeah.
a lot of these girls, especially if you're really attractive, guys are hitting on them all day.
Yes.
So they feel like celebrities. You got so many options. I don't blame you. I'd be.
Dude, nobody ever talks about the other flip side of that. Some of them, they feel like celebrities. They get this huge dopamine boost from all this attention. But it's also exhausting. It's so exhausting just having thousands of options. that there's literal scientific studies, like humans do not like having more than 2 or 3 options, and like nobody ever talks about the fact that yes, these women get like thousands of swipes and thousands of likes and messages and all that, but that's also so tiring, homie. That's also gotta be tiring. Dude, guys hit on me all day and I feel like a celebrity. Like, that's being sarcastic. Sorry, my guys. By guys, she means my bitch ass. I smell you, big bro. I'm gonna do that. Good. Padrecito's always hitting. Well, yeah, that's true. I love you, big boy.
Be the same way.
It's exhausting.
Becomes like
Always somebody better.
I think technology has a big part to do with that now. Like modern times, like online dating, Instagram.
That's true.
Especially as a girl, you're gonna have 30 DMs a day.
That's not a good thing.
I think that's
necessarily.
a big reason why it can be tougher for some men.
Not successful.
I think what he's saying is there's a
That's not
toxicity to
necessarily a good
femininity
thing.
as well. There is a toxic side to both genders.
Well,
I think anybody can be narcissistic, but I think that it's like weird to randomly attribute that to like women in New York because they're being complimented all day.
There's a term, it's called absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, but that is, when we're talking about masculinity, that's what we've had. We've typically had that. We can do it.
Why this man got a Kanye South sweater? Damn, Groundhog skin. I like it. It's cozy, man. He look cozy to me.
Whatever we want, and we do it because we squeeze, we corrupt, we take. Historically, you take over things, places that you don't like, and you rape the women, and you take the gold, and you do what you want because you have that power. Now, when we see women have that power, we're like, whoa, she's literally just getting a taste of the power that men have had for centuries.
But on the flip side of this perspective of dating, of like the poor guy who goes on these dates and gets ghosted and it's a struggle to date, on the other side of that is men have more sex, men cheat more, they have more affairs. So if I'm a woman and I'm looking for a guy, I would be really selective. I would have a list of what I was looking for, and the guy would have to meet those standards and they would be high.
I think that over the last
Sometimes I agree with him. Sometimes I don't. He's so confusing. It's really hard to like get a full grasp on what his like actual views are. Like, he's all over the place.
last several years, the Me Too movement has given a lot of insight into what women are feeling in the workplace, what they're experiencing, how they're being abused and otherwise silenced, how institutions of power have kept them silent. And we've heard some really awful stories and some terrible shit. I want to hear from you guys what you think about what the Me Too movement did. Has it gone too far?
Yeah.
What does it mean for you?
I think it's good for women to expose men who are doing evil things in the workplace. I think it's been a good thing in exposing sexual abuse. There's also the opposite side of that coin where women are allowed privilege to do certain things.
I think it's movement. Terrible shit. Has it gone too far? What does it mean for you?
I think it's good for women to expose men who are doing evil things in the workplace. I think it's been a good thing in exposing sexual abuse. There's also the opposite side of that coin where women are allowed privilege to do certain things that men are not. So in the workplace, I was working at a place where a woman was grabbing me inappropriately, doing things that were inappropriate. And when you bring that up to your coworkers, you know what they say? They laugh and they say, you should be excited, right?
So that's like a thing that you gotta put up with, like you gotta bring up to men. You need to get men to stop doing that, because you need to get men to be like, look, that's sex, like I didn't like that. That made me uncomfortable. Because it's not gonna be another woman who's like, oh, you should be happy about that, you should be excited. It's gonna be other men that are like, yeah, bro, if that was me, I would have her tickle my anus. Yeah, oh man, you're so lucky. I wish that was me. Like you gotta bring that up with men, dog. It ain't gonna be no women. You're not gonna tell a woman like, yo, this woman was making me feel uncomfortable. She was like sexually touching me and I didn't like it. And then that woman's she's not gonna be like, oh wow, like she's gonna be like, it's gonna be the man that's the one that's like, yeah, bro, that sounds great. I love that. Like, you gotta bring that up with men, homie.
If a man is sexually abused, the stigma totally changes.
Well, I don't think Me Too necessarily is what prevented people from believing you and your story. And your story is valid. I'm not here to suppress that, but I do think that it's worth noting women are far more likely to be victims of sexual assault.
You just experienced a little bit of weakness that women feel most of the time.
When we're talking about constructs, you guys are saying we need to deconstruct masculinity. I'm saying there are unequal biases with both genders.
When it comes to it not necessarily being as
you gotta bring that up to
viewed
men.
as valid, that it happens to be the case because of other men, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, other men are the people that downplay that, and that's where we come back to the talk of, patriarchy and things like that.
Was put in place by men and is enforced by men.
Oh, and I went for a walk to get dinner last night. And I walked several blocks because I wanted to check out a few things. And it was dark. Not a single time did the idea that I would be physically or sexually assaulted cross my mind. Not a single time. I can imagine that doesn't really work out for women.
It comes down to biological differences. As a man, you're more likely to be able to have more of a chance to fend off someone attacking you. As a woman, not really. So that's why, we have things.
Until you in jail, bro. What about all the men getting raped in jail, homie? We got to talk about that. It don't matter how powerful you are then.
Like mace and tasers or having a gun.
Is it something about it's hard to admit that you're a victim?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And to complain about it. People look at you like, remember Terry Crews? He didn't get his nuts squeezed and shit?
Right.
It's like, why didn't you do something? Why'd you let him?
Look how the world ridiculed him.
I love Terry Crews's response to that, too. Terry Crews was straight up just like, Your Honor, I am like a gigantic black man in America. Anything I did would have looked super aggressive, and it could have been taken super out of context, and I could have ended up being the one in trouble for just trying to defend myself. That was like mic drop moment where it was like, if it could happen to this dude, it could happen to anyone, especially to women.
Oh, you ain't do nothing. Like, oh, you a bitch. So we as men, especially super guys that grew up in super masculine houses, we don't really like to admit weakness.
Well, and it's in our language, right? Like, don't be a bitch. Like, don't be a pussy.
Right.
Like, it's very real.
We internalize that.
Yeah.
That's all examples of like toxic masculinity. Like, it's never to invalidate somebody's experience, but like it must be obvious that like these are rules and roles enforced by men and created by men.
Well, and toxic masculinity and power kind of go hand in hand. I mean, we're talking about peanut butter and jelly.
You know what it is? I think sometimes we gotta go to work, and like if we're caught complaining about it, we're like admitting weakness. It's like, you're not a man.
How does that feel?
That's not
It
good.
doesn't feel great, but that doesn't stop me from doing what I need to do. If you talk about a little bit of pressure that goes with it, yeah, there's a little bit of pressure. If you can withstand it, you become a successful man.
But what does that have to do with being?
If you can withstand it, you might become a successful man. If you don't withstand it, you might Roblox yourself in real life, homie. And that's what's happening. And that's what we're trying to get to stop happening. Because we don't want our young men to be feeling overpressured and to feeling like they're at the brink and that they feel like there's nothing they could do but just Roblox. Like, we don't want that. Yo, I heard there's some big thing. Bad Finger, what's up? We got Man Finger in the house. What's up, bro? Right now, we are learning to become good men. Because good men slap the homies in the ass, baby.
Being a man. Like, surely like a woman can do all those things, so why even attribute it to your gender?
That's a good point, but I think also, if you're talking in terms of biological differences, generally, men are more logical, right? More reasoning.
Is that biological?
More
Is that biological?
I disagree.
based.
There is no scientific.
Pressure is good, but it shouldn't be just for men. We should all feel pressure to use our time as best as we can. Dude, yes. And using your time in the best way you can includes spending time with your family and loved ones. Using your time the best we can for some people becomes like, okay, I should just be working out and like, working nonstop on my hustle or my grind. Like, you should be doing that. But also there should be time for the family and for loved ones and for relaxation. My grandma has a quote where she's like, there's a time for everything. She always hits me with that. Siempre hay tiempo para todo. Hay tiempo para todo. Hay tiempo para todo. It means there's a time for everything. Which means that there's a time to be a goblin. There's a time to be goblin mode, Like, you gotta have pressure, but you also gotta understand that there's balance in life. Yeah, you gotta grow. It's important to realize that recharging and rest is part of the bringing out the best of your work. Yeah, for sure. And that's what I wish more of these like self-help gurus talked about. A lot of these self-help gurus just talk about the grind, and they just talk about like, you gotta be the best version of you. And it's like, yes, which includes spending time with your loved ones and also recharging. They prey on insecure men. Yeah, for sure, bro. It's 10:15. That motherfucker sound like a Roblox brick. It's always time to be goblin.
Backing for that whatsoever.
I just think it's a commonly used stereotype. I mean, I'm not.
So what
I guess maybe talking about, okay, you guys can say that. I think more about me. Like, I'm more of like a logical,
Sure.
factual-based guy. Like, I have emotions, but, I don't let that deter me
Always
from
time
what
to kiss
I need
the
to do,
dudes.
like my reasoning.
Do you talk with people about your emotions a lot?
Damn. This is a good panel. There's always time to smooch the homies, baby.
I mean, I have people, I have friends. I have close guy friends I can talk to.
You do?
Yeah.
There's an interesting thing came out where, like,
I would love to hear, like, what him and his close guy friends, like, when they talk, what is that like? Because for a lot of dudes, I imagine it's like, yo, I was chilling with some hoes the other night. Oh, word, that sounds dope, man. Yeah, I took this one chick out on a date. Oh, word, what was that like? Yeah, that was cool. It was dope. Like, you gotta, I want to hear, like, I love my homies. I talk to my homies in depth. We talk about a lot of things, and it's not just surface level basic, like, yeah, that shit was cool. We talk about what we actually like to do. We love each other. We do this to each other. I'm still saying I come when y'all when I see we miss your finger. We gotta do your ass real soon. Yeah. We're gonna figure it out somehow. Wherever at some point in life, y'all will be in the same state, in the same place, and I can't wait for that. Start off with deep shit, then it's just dumb shit, and then we just fucked up. Yeah. Gotta have it all, baby. We have sex with homies, and it ain't gay. It's true friendship in the most anime way possible.
guys these days have fewer than 3 friends. Like, it's hard for men to make friends with each other.
I think that's a big problem now in modern times. Because you hear about, the suicide rates going up. I think that's a big reason for it. Men aren't allowed to talk about it with safe people. So if you talk about masculinity crisis, that's the crisis right there.
I think that men find friends very easily in terms of like, oh, yo, you lift 240, I lift 242, let's like spot each other, like basketball or whatever. But I think that we have superficial relationships in those friendships, in which like it's very like surface level, like coming back to what you're talking about. We don't talk about feelings and things like that. That comes back to how, you're brought up and how like boys are taught in certain ways, how we go about talking to each other and how we go about expressing ourselves.
How much of this is men putting ourselves in a little box? I can tell you, I wouldn't have shared my emotions with people when I was younger, but I have people in my life now who I feel completely comfortable sharing my insecurities, my vulnerabilities, how I'm feeling. That ends up being one of the reasons why men end up with limited friends. Because, how many people can you actually feel like you can be open and honest with?
But there's something holding people back.
Yeah, and I think it's us. I think we're doing it because we're putting ourselves in this masculinity box, if you will.
I think that vulnerability.
I have transcended the need for emotions. I am pure girth. Oh yes. I am pure girth. I am pure girth, baby.
For men oftentimes is viewed as surrender, and like that is that's an example of weakness in which like someone can possibly take advantage of it, or it used to be viewed as such, where it's like, all right, cool, like he cried, oh, that means he's soft, so now I can challenge him.
And this is something that I really struggle with. As a black man that grew up in the hood, you couldn't be soft. You couldn't come outside. You know what I'm saying? So you had to take on this persona in order to be a quote unquote man. As I got older, I realized I still had to do that with women. I had to be a certain way for them to look at me as a man. And if I didn't perform in that manner, they also called me a bitch.
Yeah.
They're like, you too pump, coming real fast, bitch ass motherfucker. You gotta last more than 3 pumps, you motherfucker. Nah, for real. That shit is fucked up, man. Just because I be jizzing in 0.5 seconds doesn't make me any less of a man. Wouldn't be like, oh, wait, we have emotion. Oh, we want emotion. Then you nut and start crying in 15 seconds. And they don't want it no more than they're upset. Like, it's okay. You jiggle it after you jack all you off for only 5 pumps. Yeah, Women want us to open up. And then after we bust in 10 seconds and we start crying and shitting ourselves, they're all like, what the fuck is going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? And it's just like, this is why I never open up to you. And then they're like, you ain't a real man, you bitch ass motherfucker. And I'm like, covered in my own shit, jizz and tears.
They want a real, like,
right?
poster.
So it's like, as progressive as I may want to be, is the world accepting of that as a whole? Because even if the other men don't like it, but the women like it, I might be like, I don't care what the guys think, as long as the women like it. Yeah. But there are spaces where the women will be like, look at him, he wants a finger in his butt. Sorry.
Whoa! Dude, where did that come from? I love this dude, man. This dude be dropping gems, man. This dude is dropping gems. What the hell is wrong with you being like, hello, girlfriend of 2 weeks? I have this strap on and I would like you to peg me with it. Hello, girlfriend of 30 seconds. I would like you to hit me with this. Oh, man, that was funny, man. Y'all are funny. He called me out. There's nothing bad finger in the vein is.
No, let's talk about fingers in the butt.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not my type of guy. He's not my type of guy. And I can't be open with sex or accepting having gay friends.
That's what you like?
But I can't, right, you can't be.
Dude, so from what I've heard, I've seen like a couple videos on it. Black bisexual men have it so rough, dude. Like, they have to deal with these like expectations of being like a tough black man. And the second that they're like, oh, I'm bisexual, women will hit them with like I've seen videos talking about that where I'm like, damn, that shit is rough. Like, they really be going through it. Girls be like, they want a sensitive man. Then you take them home and they want you to hit them with a baseball bat and spit on them. Yeah, what happened to the sensitive man? I've drank too much soy. I can't choke you. Ugh.
Open about certain things because then you become questionable and you're pushed out of the safe space.
Sex is a difficult thing for men to talk about even with each other, especially if you do have some kind of kink.
Because you're not allowed to be vulnerable. You're not allowed to be weak. You're not allowed to fail. And a lot of people that, when you say the suicide rates, you give up because you have nowhere to turn.
I kind of disagree with you on the fact about that pressure is causing. I think it's more.
That's Queen. She wanted me to dress up like a priest and exercise that cantaloupe pussy. What the fuck? Why the cantaloupe?
Or the lack of support and guidance for a lot of guys. Like, they don't know where to turn. Like, a lot of guys, suicide, I think, is like when you lose hope, right? So they just don't have hope.
What about not wanting to go get it? Because there's places to be, there's people to go. You can go to church. I mean, you can go to therapy.
As much as
places
you
to
say
go.
that, but I don't feel like when you say guys don't want to express weakness, I think taking that step is hard for a lot of men. Yeah. Because then that expresses weakness. It's hard for a lot of guys.
You know what's interesting?
That's what we're trying to fix, homie. That's the whole point of this panel. These women be like, throw a watermelon at me and call me a slut. And I'm like, can we just talk about our feelings and hold hands? I'll talk about my feelings right now. Let's talk about our feelings right now, brother. Yeah, brother. Let's talk about how we feel. I feel upset that I had an internet outage last night from Optimum. And they just increased my bill. Because they said that the router I had was old technology. And that I had to upgrade or else I couldn't be on their service. I'm feeling good. Moved into my new place, but I'm upset because I miss my old neighborhood. Oh, my homies. Oh, my G. True. February. It is February, my man. Minimum internet. That sucks, dude. They raised it by 123. Yeah, no. Like, it's faster internet, but the whole problem was that, like, they, like, forced me into it. I'm like, yo, can I just, like, stick onto the regular plan? They're like, if you want to upgrade this router, and my router had a bite in the cable, thanks to goddamn Chupon. You gotta fuck the Comcast guy every other day now. Dude, that was the increase. He's like, I'm gonna show up to your apartment while you're stuck. And you're gonna be my They're gonna take off. No more interwebs if you're not stuck, boy. Come here, boy.
Hearing is that as men, you also are victim.
Hold on, Queen and Leo, how y'all feeling? We talking about feelings. Let's talk about feelings. Get in the washing machine now, stepbrother. You wouldn't last 30 seconds with the Comcast, man.
Compromised by the sexist expectations of masculinity.
It also makes it hard for men to love themselves and love themselves enough to understand that they're in trouble, you know, and I know that's something that happened in my life. It was before I did finally go to therapy and get the demons out that I needed to get out. It took me meeting a woman who actually made me want to love myself.
You found a woman who gave you peace and changed you a lot. Well, great if a man is dating a woman and she doesn't like that he's not masculine enough, it's kind of like, to me, I feel like too bad for him. He should go find someone else. That's part of the dating scene. Everyone has things that they like and things that they don't like.
I feel like your preference is your preference, but at like some point, I think it's like noteworthy and responsible to like understand where those preferences or like originate.
Not necessarily. I think our life experiences form
I agree
what
with
we
them
really
both.
want in our dating life. And because I grew up
They don't give us peace. It's like 10% of the time there's peace. 90% just a dull win. Women don't give us peace. What's the dull win? Wine. Just a dull wine. What you mean by that? Bro, that's a cowboy definitely starring in Brokeback Part 2. Oh my God, y'all are wild. Y'all are so crazy. Oh, I'm joking. Oh, it's a nagging wife joke. Yeah. All right, dude, sometimes it's hard. It's hard for me to switch back and forth between like, this is like a serious issue that we should discuss so that we can help young men out there. And then to like, yeah, I want my Joe Biden mandated 30-second girlfriend to peg me. Like it gets real difficult for me to switch back and forth, but I love y'all. Y'all have made this so entertaining.
in a broken home and I didn't have a man in the house. I want a man who gives me security and protection. I don't think me deconstructing masculine is gonna do that for me. I was missing that in my childhood, and that's what I want in a man.
What was he missing?
A man who gives me security and protection. I don't think me deconstructing masculine is gonna do that for me. I was missing that in my childhood, and that's what I want in a man.
I tend to diverge from like the Freudian daddy issues stuff when it comes to like what
Congratulations, I'm so happy for you. I want a man who gives me security.
Thank
Is he not? Shouldn't he give security? Like, he's a man, right? Like, he's very saucy, dude. He's the type of dude who earlier on in this segment was talking about how men need to be. Yeah, that's Herschel Walker's son, Christian Walker, Islam Walker, Hindu Walker, Buddha Walker. What's it called? He was talking about how men have to be masculine, how men should be masculine, and he's not that, dude. Like, he was talking about how he's like, I believe in traditional roles and I believe in traditional masculinity. And it's like, dude, you're not really doing it, man. Like look at you. You should be. You're not that role, man, and that's perfectly fine. But just acknowledge that you're not that. And now this dude is just like, I want a man that protects me. Chucho says that he's the most masculine. Yeah, you can hear him, right? Chucho's like, I am masculine, and I don't get it, man. This dude is just like, yes, a man should serve and protect, and I want my man to protect me, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's like, dude, aren't you supposed to protect? Doesn't that mean you're supposed to protect? You're a man.
Thank you.
I think if I'm with a woman, and the bad dates I've had is when I'm like talking about my problems, I'm complaining about something, I'm not gonna see that woman. If I'm projecting more strength, and I'm more charismatic, I'm positive, I'm probably gonna see that woman. So I think as much as like guys, you want guys to be vulnerable, that doesn't work a lot of times. And I think it just comes down to that.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what it is.
Dude, they do this all the time. They never specify, is this the first date or is this like the 17th date? Like that really determines it. I'm not about to go on no first date and just start complaining about my life and start being like, I'm self-conscious about this and I feel bad about this sometimes. And, you should probably be more chill. They never specify it. Like, if you've been with like a woman now for like multiple years going on dates and you still can't be like, hey, I had a shitty day at work today and I'm feeling like this about this and like, you know, this has just been bothering me. That's really fucking bad. Like, you shouldn't be with that person. If it's the first few dates, like, there's no reason why you gotta be like, yeah, you know, everything sucks. I hate everything. Like, yeah, that's definitely gonna be like a fucking mood killer. But they never specify that. This dude got Attack on Titan. Don't we all?
That's what I'm saying.
And it sounds like a lot of you are saying that's wrong.
Yeah, and it's like
I'm not saying
it's like
wrong. I think it is what it is.
I just think that society teaches you have to be a certain way.
and that's really
And that's my issue. Because
Right.
if this is who you are, your character, right, it just blossoms into this person that loves to pay for dates, loves to open doors, and loves to walk in the house, then that's fine. But when society tells you that from a young boy, that that's the only way to be as a man, this is the only way to be. And you think about things like, say, people on the down low that don't want to come out till later because they're scared of societal pressures, right? You should be able to be whoever you want without society telling you you have to be this way in order to fit in this box.
Badfinger, I said it earlier before you were here, but Vice did the best casting ever, man. They went out and they got these like former Marines and like these like what looks like traditional tough men who are super progressive when it comes to like their relationship with masculinity. They got these dudes who have deep voices and like you can't sit there and call them soy boys. They are soy men. Those are soy fucking men, and you better address them as such. Vice did a great casting. They really did a good job because people, and I'm curious to see what the comments say if they left comments on. What's it called? I would love to see what the comments say. And, you know, you can't sit there and hit them with the like, those liberals that don't touch grass and they're just trying to be feminists so that they can get with all the ugly chicks. Like, these are men with like 3 daughters and like families and like full on businesses and lives. Like, damn, good casting. I don't know. I feel like people have too much free time to debate this, just like Vibe. Not talking about us or this video, but the people trying to shove an ideology down your throat. It's too much. Yeah, it's a lot of it. But that's why they need this, bro. That's why the space needs us to confront all those people that you say prey on insecure men. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying that, like, there needs to be just cooler representation of these ideas. I live on a house on a river. Yeah, you booling, you chilling, you booling with my wife. Fuck them all. Fuck those people. Yeah, for sure, man. I'm trying to be like an online figure of hate. I'm trying to be an online figure of hate. Fuck them all. I totally get that, man. I totally get where if you were just like, I'm going to just chill the fuck out. I know I have good values and like I'm chilling with my wife and I respect her and we're cool. He's trying to be confrontational. Promote hate for the sake of love. Yeah. I love the hate out of hate of all the love of the men that big men and men.
Pressure is on like the body. Like pressure is to be buff, to like look good.
There is a certain pressure, I guess you can call it, for guys to look a certain way, especially if they're trying to attract women. So I think it comes down to just men who look a certain way tend to.
This is what men need to look like if they want to get women. This is what women want. He had like if you society, this is a social construct right here. If you want to get women, this is what you need to look like. Men these days don't have arm falcons. Good point. That's the problem. That is the entire problem, man. Why are men today not built like this anymore? They don't make them like this no more. 'Tis true. Eat only raw horse meat from between your thighs. This is what a real man is.
Look more competent.
I always have a nice horse steak in my undergarment.
I was just gonna add on to what you were saying. If a guy looks fit, if a guy looks strong, okay. Thinking if I'm on the street and somebody tries to do something to me, I know that he can handle it.
I also think generally, like, guys who don't have the body that they're looking for, or generally, they're not as healthy. It's not just a look thing, it's just a health thing.
Yeah, that's
you know,
it.
the body and mind are connected. If someone is strong, they're probably gonna look strong and they're probably gonna feel strong. So I think when you say it's a pressure, I think it can be construed as a healthy pressure. Hey, get strong, be strong, because you're gonna be a healthier and more mentally fit individual.
Yeah,
For example,
handle
I
it
was a
healthily.
gymnast, and I think, you know, the training that I did not only trained my body, but it winded up training my mind and making me a stronger human, period.
Yeah.
As the skinniest
If you're
person
healthy
here,
about it.
Pretty skinny.
You skinny? All right, as the second skinniest person here. No, it's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, you
It's
do.
wound
I've
up,
had a
you
bunch
it.
of
What
girls
does winds it up
like
mean?
friend zone me, and I'd be like, wow.
Wound.
And they're like, you're just too skinny.
Your opinions are
And I'd
invalidated.
be like, damn. I mean, they kept it so real, I can't.
That's
But I'm
kind
like-
of.
Wait, he said the woman
is
said that
saying
to him?
There is a good and natural connection.
Skinny, like friend. It's like, yeah, you do. I've had a bunch of girls like friend zone me, and I'd be like, why? And they're like, you're just too skinny. And I'd be like, damn. I mean, they kept it so
I'll be
real,
like,
I can't.
damn.
Yeah,
But I'm
kind of
like-
him to say that. Yeah.
I'd be like, God damn, that's saying a lot. Cause I only date anorexic girls. And all the anorexic girls kept telling me I was too skinny. Nah, for real. Dude, I don't know. Just find some new girls, man. Find different types of girls. Train harder, bro. I've been fat as fuck and girls like me because I had swag. Real talk. Dude, 100%. Like, the problem is a lot of dudes do not know how to get past, like, any any, like, you know, like like we talk about this all the time. Short dudes that have no confidence, like all they do is short king activism. Like, y'all gotta stop, man. Y'all gotta stop. As a fellow short dude, y'all gotta work on your confidence instead of complaining about being short all the time. There's plenty of things you could bring up about society and like short dudes, right? But y'all gotta just swag up. Y'all gotta be like, yeah, so what? I'm 5'6". I got a fucking 6'5" cock. What up? Yeah, 6'5" intelligence, baby. I'm 5'6" with a 6'5" brain, baby. You know? Hit them with the confidence. Don't just do short king activism all day. It's too much. Be confident and funny, and you'll get some good watermelonism. And mate, yeah, at least. You know? Damn.
Yeah, is saying that there is
With the
a
seeds.
good and natural connection between like feeling good, healthy habits, looking good, and that there's a masculine ideal to that of some sort. Does anyone disagree
All
with that
seeds
here?
know
I do.
me.
Body diversity exists across like
Gonna
multiple
say, how do I be-
spectrums, and
Yo,
I think
say
that it's
hello,
unfair
say
to like
hello.
only attribute like mental fortitude and like mental strength to like physical strength. Not having like a perfectly in shape body doesn't necessarily mean you're unhealthy by any means, and I also don't think it necessarily means that you like lack mental fortitude.
I don't think I'm saying that to look strong is the only way to be mentally strong. I think as long as you feel like you have a competent physical body, I think that's going to benefit your mental health.
How do you define competent?
Yeah.
I think in terms of what you're trying to do. So are you a student? Like, what are your endeavors in life?
Me?
Yes.
I'm a student athlete.
Okay, what kind
And-
of sport?
I'm a springboard diver.
Okay, do you train to do springboard diving?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you feel good when you train and you do well on the springboard?
Yeah.
I think that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about. If you feel competent at the endeavors you're trying to do, I think that's
But I think
what
that there
contributes to
are
a
lots of
mental.
like non-athletic people who may not be in like the same physical shape as like an athlete would be,
Right.
who are competent in what they're trying to do because that like action has nothing to do with like their like.
So that's where I disagree with you. That's
I have
where
no
disagree
idea what
with you.
they're
I think
arguing right
some
now.
people who don't realize the potential for their physical to blend into their mental is something that needs to be talked about. I think